Hello guys, so we are now at the Founding Commons conference in Paris, and here with you Anna Tutova, co-founder of Coinstelegram, and our guest Jesse Pollak, who is one of the main person behind Base, it's layer 2 by Coinbase, and he is one of the main engineers in Coinbase. Great to have you here, Jesse.
Thanks for having me. Super excited to be here.
So can you tell us about your background and how did you generally got involved in crypto blockchain industry?
Yeah, absolutely. I found out about crypto in 2012 originally.
Wow,
a long time ago. I was in university and was sitting at a lunch table and ended up talking to someone at that table about Bitcoin. Little did I know that person was Olaf Carlson Wee, and he was actually on his way up to join Coinbase as the first employee. He went on to start Polychain and do a bunch of other stuff in the industry, but that was my first education. He was kind of swinging through campus on his way to Coinbase. I met him, learned about Bitcoin, and really started getting excited about crypto.
So did you study computer science or something?
Yeah, I was studying computer science at the time, and actually was kind of starting my first company right then. And we were a kind of security company, identity company, and I dropped out of school pretty quickly thereafter, went on that full time in 2013, and we worked mostly with crypto companies. And so folks like Bitfinex and BitMEX were customers of ours back in 2014, 2015. They paid us and used our software to let customers log into their products. And so that was really my first...
So what was your product exactly?
Yeah, we were basically building a really easy way for people to log in. So it was two-factor authentication without passwords. And it was called Clef, actually based on the French word key, so Clef. We worked with crypto companies because they were looking for a secure and easy to use way to identify users. And so did that for 5 years. That business didn't work out, and then kind of joined Coinbase through an acquisition. And so I joined Coinbase at the beginning of 2017 and spent the first 4.5 years kind of building and leading all the teams that built Coinbase, Coinbase Pro, Coinbase Wallet on the engineering side. So grew those teams from a few people to a couple hundred people. And then kind of late 2021 basically took a step back from that and said, hey, what would it take to bring Coinbase on chain?
So it was your initiative to start Base?
Yeah, it was a massive team effort, and the company I think identified that the world was moving on chain, and that in order for us to kind of help accelerate the next generation of crypto, we needed to figure out how could we bring our business on chain from being kind of just a centralized exchange to really enabling utility in the crypto economy. And this was something that Brian Armstrong, our CEO, had identified really early on. In 2016 he wrote something called the Coinbase Secret Master Plan, which was kind of this 4-part plan where the first part was we have kind of the protocols, Bitcoin, Ethereum. The second part was we have the exchange, that's Coinbase Exchange. Then the third part was we build consumer interfaces that let people use dApps, so that's Coinbase Wallet, that's our new Web3 product in the Coinbase app. And then the fourth part is we have millions of dApps that billions of people use. And so he'd kind of written that out in 2016, and in 2021 what we saw was we'd kind of worked our way through phases 1, 2, and 3. We'd had the protocols, we had the exchange, we had the consumer interfaces, but we didn't have millions of dApps that billions of people were using. Like those don't exist. And so we kind of took a step back and we said, hey, what's it going to take for us to start building those dApps, but then also for the world to start building those dApps? And after about a year of exploration, what we identified was it's still too hard. It's still too expensive. It's still too complex. And so we started building Base to make it incredibly easy for anyone anywhere to build dApps, and then incredibly easy for anyone anywhere to use dApps. And that, combined with the Coinbase product suite, we believe is going to enable the next wave of crypto adoption.
And you use OptiStack by Optimism, so how Base is different from Optimism, and how do you differentiate? Like we have already so many layer 2, layer 1s, layer 2s, even layer 3s, so
yeah.
What's your difference?
Yeah, we've been collaborating with Optimism for a long time. We actually started working with them on Ethereum before Base existed on something called EIP 4844, which is an upgrade to Ethereum that's going to reduce the cost of layer 2s like Base by about 10x. And so that was this context where we got to know the Optimism team and got to work with them and realize, hey, we like working with these people. Hey, they have really great technology. And so when we were starting to build Base, we kind of did a kind of survey and said, hey, do we want to build our own technology or do we want to use existing open source technology? And I think from our perspective, it felt really important that we don't just go build our own technology and that we don't create kind of a silo or an island where Base is off on its own and kind of Coinbase users are stuck there. And so we decided to use the OP Stack, which is this open source MIT licensed toolkit that we've joined as the second core contributor because we felt like it was really a way we could build Base that would contribute back to the broader community and contribute back to the broader ecosystem. So Base is powered by the OP Stack. In terms of how Base is kind of different and differentiated from OP mainnet, in general, we don't think that these things are competitive. We have this vision of a super chain where all of these are going to come together to create one unified experience for customers that scales Ethereum and scales crypto and brings the next billion people in. In terms of where we're really focused about making Base work great, I think a lot of it is on figuring out how do we make that user experience incredibly easy to use. We have the track record from Coinbase of building easy to use, trusted products. We have the wallet, we have the Coinbase app, and we're focused on making Base an incredibly simple default in those experiences so that when folks want to use dApps, they don't have to think about complex infrastructure decisions like what chain do I use. Instead, they just use the product that they love. It's powered by Base. It's through Coinbase or other wallets, and everything just works out of the box.
And Base is basically optimistic rollup?
Yep, so Base is an optimistic rollup. That said, one of the really powerful things about the OP Stack is that it's built to be configurable and modular and upgradable. And so one of the things we're actually working on is we're working on adding a ZK prover to the OP Stack so that we'll be able to have a ZK prover alongside the optimistic prover. And that means that we're going to be able to get kind of the best of both worlds of those technologies. And the Optimism Foundation, with support from the Base team, we actually just published a request for proposals for people to build that prover. We saw 3 really awesome proposals from high quality teams like Risk Zero, O1 Labs, and I think we're like on a timeline where we're going to start to see results from that in the next year.
Great. And as well, is the purpose of Base to be mostly like internal product for Coinbase, or do you target to reach as many developers as possible to start and come building on Base?
Yeah, the way we like to say is Base was started by the builders at Coinbase, but built for the builders of the world. And so we really see this as a product for everyone. One of our kind of values is that Base is for everyone. We believe that bringing the next million developers, the next billion users on chain with Base is the absolute top priority. And so obviously Coinbase developers are going to play a big role in that. And there's 1,000+ engineers at Coinbase who are already starting to build on Base. But we were really excited to see the next generation of developers outside of Coinbase come into the crypto ecosystem through Base. And I think the opportunity is massive. If you look at crypto today, there's less than 30,000 developers. And if you look at the world, there's 30 million developers. And so we think that there's a huge amount of opportunity for us to bring all those people in and get them building on chain in a way that makes a huge impact on the world.
And you plan to launch your mainnet soon too, so can you tell more about this and what is the response from your testnet? Yeah,
absolutely. So we launched the testnet in February, and we actually just opened up the mainnet for builders last Thursday. So on 7/13 or July 13th, we opened up the mainnet for builders. We're doing this kind of really dedicated period right now where we're focused on just builders before we let everyday people onto the chain, and working to get those builders apps live, get the experience really smooth, make sure that everything's working from a scalability perspective, from a security perspective. And then in early August, we're going to be launching the full mainnet. And at that point, we're going to have 100+ apps that are already ready to go. We're going to have fully integrated experiences across the entire Coinbase product suite, and we're going to start bringing the next billion users on chain. So I'm really excited about it. I think the response that we've seen has been incredible. There's so much, I think, just genuine excitement about this next wave of adoption and the role that Base can play in collaboration with Coinbase and Optimism and all these other folks who are doing incredible work in the industry in bringing those next billion users on chain. So that's what we're focused on. We just opened up the mainnet for builders, mainnet for everyone coming very soon.
And how many developers do you have already onboarded on Base?
We've seen thousands of developers already building on Base, and so we've been really impressed and excited about the response. This week in France, my whole calendar is just filled with meeting builders, and some of that is meeting businesses, in dApps, like there's companies that want to reach out to us and partner with us, but I've really tried to make an intentional effort to carve out a huge percentage of my time to focus on individuals, to focus on the people who are just building, whether it's their nights and weekends or whether it's their full-time thing, they're taking the time to write code, to put it on Base, whether it's public goods or little dApps or NFT projects. I think those builders are the people who will create the next wave of innovation that changes the world. If you look at things like Uniswap or you look at things like Compound, the original versions of those products, they were built with 1 or 2 people. And so you don't need to be a big company to build on Base. Anyone can build on Base. And I think the best ideas, the most impactful ideas are actually going to come from individuals who take the time, take the energy to build something really unique and powerful.
And maybe you can share some most exciting projects for you which are currently being built on Base?
Yeah, I mean, so many to talk through. So ones that are top of mind for me, Parallel is a really a cool game. They're launching the beta in July on Base. Blackbird is a full kind of small business and restaurant loyalty platform. It was created by the founder of Eater and Resy, 2 of the biggest restaurant brands in the United States, at least. They're fully on Base. Super excited about them. Oak is the one I talked about in the panel. They're building a local community currency stablecoin on Base. And then, of course, we'll have all of the things that you know and love, the Uniswaps, the Aves, the Compounds, 0x's, all of the infrastructure for developers. So I think the thing that we are excited about is expanding Base not just being kind of a financial place. So of course there will be the financial applications, of course there will be the trading, the borrowing, the lending, but we want to really help enable the next wave of adoption. And we believe that that's going to come not just through financial applications, but also through real world utility. Things like music, things like art, things like gaming, things like social, that people build on Base and that they scale to millions and then billions of people.
And with Base, you told that there wouldn't be a utility internal token like at other layer 1s and layer 2s. Why was there such decision? Why didn't you decide to go with the token?
Yeah, we've been really clear that we don't have any plans for a token. In general, our thesis is that Ethereum is a very workable gas token. It's what people are already used to holding and spending to use on-chain applications. And so we want to stay close to Ethereum. We want to kind of build on that legacy and the platform that's built. And then,
but still, till upgrade, it's quite costly to use Ethereum.
Sorry, I'm not sure I understand.
Till upgrade till AIP 48.
Yeah. I think there's definitely improvements we can make on cost. If you look at Base versus Ethereum today, the running the same dApp on Base is probably going to be 20 times cheaper on Base than it is on Ethereum. With EIP 4844, that'll go to like 40 to 50 to 100 times cheaper. So obviously a lot more improvement we can do. But in terms of going back to the token, I think staying aligned with Ethereum was really important. And then I'd say the other thing that was really important is, making sure that we can just focus on building a really great product. I think if you look at tokens today, a lot of them can kind of obscure what's going on because there's this crazy kind of financial incentive and financial undercurrent that can obscure what actually is happening and whether there's product market fit. And so we really wanted to focus on making sure that we were building a platform that developers loved and that users loved, and that we believe we can do without a token.
And you've been through a few cycles since 2012, so can you tell how do you see when we will have the next bull market and what would be the catalyst for the next bull market? What current trends do you see or what future trends we may have?
Yeah, I won't speculate on prices, but we've been saying it pretty consistently. We believe this is on-chain summer. This is the summer where everything's starting to move on-chain and it's starting to happen faster and faster. And so, people say we're in a bear market right now, but when I look around the industry, I look at the frequency of launches, I look at the innovation that's happening, I look at the excitement, I look at the people who are at these conferences. There is so much energy, there is so much happening, there is so much impact that is being made every single day. And so it's on-chain summer right now. Whether that translates to price impact right now or 6 months from now or 12 months from now or 18 months from now, I don't know. But I can say that there are more people onboarding supporting, there are more people building, and the rate that that's happening is increasing exponentially every single month, year, quarter.
Yeah, that's true. And as well, from the enterprise adoption side, you mentioned that as well there is some interest from the potential enterprise clients. So can you tell more about these? Do you have any plans to work with international organizations, like, for example, European Investment Bank launch bond on Ethereum or something like that? Like, does Base have the same goals?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we are working with all kinds of builders on Base, from those individual developers that I was talking about earlier to the largest Fortune 500 companies in the world. And so, can't share anything in this interview right now, but I think starting this summer, you will see that there are global brands that are building on Base, from consumer packaged goods to finance to whatever you want. And so we'll have a lot more to share in the next few months.
Okay, so maybe you can share as well some more upcoming plans for the Base besides the full mainnet launch. What other upcoming news do you have?
Yeah, we're just focused on the mainnet launch. Then we're focused on on-chain summer, focused on enabling creativity, enabling folks to build, and enabling folks to launch things this August. And so if you're a builder out there who's creating something awesome, put it on Base. Launch it in August, participate in on-chain summer with us, help us kickstart the next wave of crypto adoption. We'd love to support you in whatever way we can.
And what do we need for the mass adoption?
We just need everything to be easier, and we need the next wave of use cases. And so that's up to the builders of the world. I think the time is now. The infrastructure is here. The pieces are all there. We just got to put them together, and we need them to kind of come out in the next few months.
Yeah, hope to see much more exciting use cases coming on Base.
Yep.
Great to have you.
We're really excited. Thanks for the interview. Excited to be here. Thanks, everyone.